It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling. Come and join us for another ride in the team bus. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on professional bike races, teams, riders, and all sorts of cycling-related stories. And we might just sprinkle in some other shiny pop cultural objects along the way. So jump in the saddle and tighten up those shoes. The road awaits. Allez!
Hello and welcome to the Team Bus. I'm Justin, and this is my brother Matt. And today on the bus, we're talking 2025 Vuelta a Espana, specifically stages 5 through 9, where Team UAE Emirates got off to an incredible start with a successful treble of stages, which included at least one win for every member of the team. More on that in just a moment. We're also looking at the women's classic Lorient Agglomeration, where SD Works' Misha Bradenbold secured her own treble and pulled alongside British legend Lizzie Deignan as the rider with the most wins all time in this prestigious late-season French classic. The sister race to the Lorient for the men's is the Bretagne Classic, which boasts a nearly 100-year history, most of which was dominated by French riders, though in recent years the podiums have been decidedly more international. This year, it was a Belgian, in the form of his life, who took the win, as Arnaud Delis of Lotto put a big exclamation point on his win last weekend at the Renouille Tour with a perfectly executed sprint against the formidable Olav Koy. We've got all that and more for you today, and as always, we'll finish out with more adventures in the Broom Wagon. Allez. Welcome, Matt. How are you tonight?
I am well and ready to talk Vuelta.
So much to talk about. Where do you want to begin? Because I mean, on and off, it is just there's so much going on right now that I don't even know where to start.
Well, when we last left off, it was stage 4. That wasn't Gadoo's win. That was Ben Turner winning stage 4. And then suddenly it becomes the UAE Emirates onslaught with wins, the treble of wins, as we alluded to in our intro, stages 5, 6, and 7. And what a wild collection of wins they were, right? I mean, first of all, you got the TTT on stage 5, which we also alluded to in the intro. UAE Emirates won the TT2. So technically speaking, every man on that team got a stage win.
This is true.
in this tour. And then the very next day, we saw Jay Vine go out on stage 6 and absolutely put the breakaway to the sword. And I mean, he didn't even look winded at the end of that stage. Like, he was just out there with that big old Jay Vine smile on his face all day long. And then the next day, it's too good. The image is too good. It's like,
well, so all right. So what's crazy about Juan Ayuso's win, in my opinion, is that Juan Ayuso the day before had a really bad day. All right, lost tons of time, but more or less took himself out of the race, like done. Like he broke, and then he comes back and he throws down a statement win. And
it's
then,
the Remco. Remco did this exact same thing in a Grand Tour a couple of years ago.
And then, well, you know what? It was the Tour de France where the last one that Jonas won, when they cracked Tade, he had that really bad day where he lost 10 minutes, and the next day, maybe it might have been the next day or maybe 2 days later, came back and crushed the stage. But
same deal.
Yeah, same deal. And then all hell breaks loose as far as UAE and Juan Ayuso are concerned. What a complete disaster. By the way, it's a repeat. I don't know. I feel like this one's way worse than the Giro was, but at least now they know who they're riding for.
Here is why this entire storyline is such a delight to discuss because on paper, no, not on paper, from casual observation, this appears to be the team in the most disarray. Like they are a hot freaking mess. But this is also the team that is threatening the record for most wins
Yes.
by a team in a single season. It's the same team.
Yeah, they have
And
like,
that's what
double
makes
the
it so
UCI points
great.
of number 2. Like, it's ridiculous.
They just won 3 stages in a row,
Yes.
including a stage that was won by the team, and yet the dysfunction is palpable.
Yes. Okay. So,
It's insane.
okay. I feel like there's more. I feel like we'll want to talk more about this as we go on. Let's tackle a couple of things from the TTT, so we can move on to the J Vine and then the Juan Ayuso win. So, Little Trek was basically in the hot seat the entire day. They had a really great ride early and they had dominated. Obviously, not a lot of action in a TTT. However, did you see the picture in my notes?
Yeah.
So there was protesters against Israel on the course, like literally stopping IPT on the time trial, which is insane to me. Like,
Yeah, and they finished like in like 12th or 14th or something, way down.
oh yeah,
Not that they would have been higher, to be honest. Like they didn't really slow them down all that much. It was definitely a disturbance.
enough. It cost them
And I
time.
think a couple of the riders were shook
Oh yeah,
from it.
for sure.
I think a lot of the riders on that team are starting to get shook, man. They're not liking this and not liking like I got a bad feeling that we're gonna see some bad juju on that team.
Yeah.
And I know that we're also going to be talking later this week in the Beyond the Slipstream about another uh, bit of misfortune that has befallen that team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 True that. True that. So Visma has what's seemingly like a not really good start, but then ends up like completely crushing the tail end of the time trial and
Right.
coming in with a very respectable time. But then UAE, completely just shut everybody out. Like their ride was excellent.
And who was right there, absolutely burying himself on the front end of that train as they crossed the finish line? But Juan Ayuso, I mean, he was pulling that team. So that plays into the whole storyline, right? And then the next day, his teammate goes out there and wins, Jay Vine, while Ayuso himself free falls down the GC, losing, what did he lose? 10 minutes or something?
Yeah. Yeah. That day, like, yeah. I mean, he was just gone. I mean, he was gone.
Completely took himself out of contention for the GC, but he you keep hearing Lantern Rouge. You listen to those guys talking about how like Mikkel Landa is just he is addicted to riding for GC no matter what. He is unable to say, you know what, it ain't gonna happen for me this year. I'm not gonna podium this thing. I'm not even in a top 5. I'd be lucky to top 10. So why not just ship 9 minutes on a stage, relax, take my time, get myself so far out of it that I cannot threaten GC so that I will be allowed to go into breaks. And then I'm going to go out there and win a stage or two. And he's incapable of doing it. He just will not do that. He's just always riding to defend some kind of GC hopes that he doesn't really have. Whereas Juan Ayuso did exactly what you need to do in this situation. He went out, lost himself a whole bunch of time, and the very next day goes in the breakaway. I mean, that's like balls riding.
I also, given what unfolds as the week goes, makes me wonder, did he lose 10 minutes so he could win a stage?
Well, and they were saying that, everybody, when the press were asking him, like, how did you lose so much time that day? Like, he was like, the GC was never a plan for me. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Even though, like,
Well,
as far as the team was concerned,
to me,
they were going. co-leader
echoes.
strategy.
There's a huge echo off that statement.
It's hard to compare this race with the Giro because in the Giro there was no Pogačar or Vingegaard, so the Giro was a race that was really realistic for them to have had a chance of winning, and they blew it with their two rider strategy. Here, first of all, um, here you got Jonas Vingegaard,
Yeah.
so there's a different expectation.
As
It's like
you
it
know,
would take a miracle, and yet this two leader strategy that sure doesn't seem like it's working out for him.
no. Well, and Visma is burying themselves for Jonas left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Matteo
Mm-hmm.
Jorgensen is, riding out of his mind.
Yeah,
And
Visma's showing you exactly what can be done when you have a one leader strategy and you really dedicate yourself to it.
well, yeah, and I mean, at this point, I think we all agreed that it was his race to lose in the first place. But I mean, now it really is his race to lose. You know what I mean? The kid from Bahrain, is not a threat to go, in my opinion, to go deep. I think once the climbing gets, climbier, Jonas is just going to bury these guys. I think he's shown on multiple occasions already in this race that when push comes to shove and the mountains get steep, that he's ready to just put these guys to the sword and be done with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when he won on stage 9. That was my thought. Like, oh, here it goes. Now we get to see, because earlier in the race we were talking about, like, in what was it, stage 2 that Jonas won, like how, like, the whole stage we kept thinking, like, when's he going to make that Tadej Pogacar-esque move, and he never did. He ended up just riding it out to the very top and eking it out by 3 inches in a sprint. um
Well,
we
yeah,
didn't think it was
and
gonna,
when we get and we
but
when we
here on stage 9, now we're seeing the Jonas that we were expecting, like him going out and making authoritative statements,
oh yeah,
which,
I mean he
you
played
know,
it he played it like Pogacar on stage 9 for sure.
but one got the feeling, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but if you just picked Jonas up and put Pogacar down in his place in this race, and it was stage 9, and Pogacar was making the move, he puts like 2 minutes into everybody. Jonas only put, like, what, about 30 seconds
Yeah,
into the group or whatever. I mean, he didn't even put it in. Well, I
he
don't know
put
that he was
30
trying to put
seconds
it in enough to get
into
the
the
red jersey back.
contender group, and he put a little more time on what's his name, Tristan Tryon.
Right. Torsten.
Torsten, thank you.
But I also thought another interesting detail from that stage was that Matteo and, speaking of Torsten Tryon, Matteo and Sepp Kuss and what's his name, the other guy, the young guy,
Ben
uh,
Tulit.
yeah, Tulit, they were helping. They helped Torsten Tryon on the stage so that he would retain red and Jonas wouldn't have to screw around with the red
They
jersey
That's
protocol.
it. I'm telling you, that's it. Right
That
now,
is
you're
that is
seeing a team.
teamwork.
You're seeing a team that is clicking on all levels. Like they're happy on the bus. The Vic Campenart's like vlogs with Mateo that I was already watching prior to them playing them on NBC. Uh, you know, you can tell that these guys are having a good time on. You know what I
They're in
mean?
the zone.
Yeah, they're there right now, and
Of course, it's easy to be in the zone when you got a Jonas Vingegaard who has no Tadej Pogacar to go up against. I mean,
well, yeah.
nonetheless, that does not to take away from it, but they're in a very enviable
Oh yeah,
situation. They
for
can be
sure.
very relaxed because their leader is so reliable.
Yeah, and it's funny. Bob Roll said the other day he's like, in any other generation, this guy would be destroying everybody in the peloton, and
Yeah.
it's just like you feel for the kid because he's living in the world of Tadej Pogacar, but I don't know, man.
Hey,
It'll
we talked about it last week. He could beat Pogacar to the uh, to the all three Grand Tour wins club.
oh yeah. Well, and like when you can watch him race and it's not against Pogacar, you realize it really does shine how much better he is than everybody else. Like
Oh,
it's easy to forget how dominant he can be.
did you catch the factoid they spat out for his performance up that final climb on Sunday? Um, I think it was the climb was they were talking about it was something like 10 Ks or something like that, or no, he I think he attacked with like 8.8 Ks left or something like that.
That's crazy.
Um, it was an average of like 5% that climb, which is not nothing. It is 100% uphill, and he averaged like 18.7 miles per hour going up that climb.
That's crazy.
18.7 miles an hour. Absolutely insane.
Well,
I mean, that
and
guy is a machine.
and when you get to stage 9, that was not a place where they expected him to do that. You know what I mean? That's what felt Pogacar-esque about that move, was that was not a place that, the pundits had targeted for him to make an attack. It was a possibility, but it's not like, what we're going to see here, especially this upcoming week at the end of this race, where the mountains are just going to be absolutely
Yeah.
brutal.
Well, and you also reminded me about, I'm sure you heard in his post race interview, the fact that he said that like it was not planned at all, that he was just feeling good, and he literally got on the radio and he was basically
Yeah,
said to
so make it harder.
Sep or Mateo, he was like, somebody come up here and give me a launch pad. And Mateo's like, at your service, boss. And he comes to the front and he just gives him like a hard like 20-25 seconds where like there's just immediate like separation all over the place, just splits everything apart. And and off he goes, and Chico, to his credit, hangs on for a minute or two, but Jonas is able to dispatch him, pretty quickly there, and never
It
seen
was like
again.
it was like that move that Tade had in the tour, where I can't remember, maybe it was Jonathan Navarez or somebody gave Tade like a launch out of nowhere, like that he wasn't expecting, and
Yeah,
Tade
yeah,
was just
yeah.
like,
Yep,
"I guess I'll
yep,
take
yep, yep.
this," and poof,
The
just
seated, it was the seated attack that everyone was talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
where he
yeah,
just like flew up the mountain and never even
yeah.
like got out of the saddle. Um, and then uh, what was the other point I wanted to make? Oh, Jonas, the slow mo of Jonas crossing the finish line in that race, like that was the one. That was the redemption shot. He gives
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
kiss, but then he does just the full arm
Oh
spread
yeah, it was
with the head
sublime.
tilted back, and he's got the look on his face. It's like the crucifixion of Christ. Like he's just got like the look of like relief but anguish at the same time. The the arms fully extended. Like he's given us a lot of things over the years. A lot of times like the one arm, the kiss, the whatever. But for him to be sitting up, out, off of the bars, arms outspread, like, I mean, that was kind of like a
Yeah,
big moment.
it was pretty crazy.
A
Um,
lot of drama.
Rolling back to stage 6 with the J Vine win, the the Peloton had like a huge disadvantage, and at one point they closed like 2 minutes in the span of nothing, and brought that way back. And they were saying, that this Torsten kid could take it. And I thought, man, when they closed those 2 minutes, that like there was no chance. Like I thought they were going to end up bringing that back way closer. And so you have the Jay Vine win, but then, very shortly after it, this kid from Bahrain, Torsten Tryon, out of, I don't even feel like I've ever heard of this kid.
Right.
And not that he's a kid. I mean, I think he's been in the pros for a while now. But what a story
To us,
this
they're all
kid.
kids.
Yeah, it's true that. But what a story this guy is, man. And just the fact that Bahrain can end up with the red jersey for multiple days, like come on,
Oh
man.
yeah,
Like,
very
it was,
well than that.
what a great story for a team that, really doesn't get a ton of, you know, crazy wins out of nowhere. Not that they even won, but boy, man, like that, red jersey was just, huge for that team.
Well, staying on that stage, do you see? I'm starting to wonder: is there a future in which Jay Vine is the dedicated leader of a team at a Grand Tour?
I mean, the kid can climb.
I mean, he's definitely super domestique
I mean, he's, I don't
for
know.
sure.
I don't know what his biggest win is. But I mean, if Jai Hindley
Well, I don't
can,
think he's won a tour stage. I think this is like his second Vuelta stage, maybe
no,
his
no, no, it's
third.
his fourth. This was his, or well, no, at that time I think it was his third. So his third, I think that was
Yeah,
his third Vuelta stage win. I think he's two previous iterations. But if Jai Hindley can win the Giro, like Jay Vine can win the Vuelta,
yeah,
you know what I mean? If he's not riding in support of somebody, I mean, the kid can climb. Like, there's no doubt. Like that climb today was not long, but it was definitely steep.
yeah.
Oh
And
shit!
like
You haven't. I'm sorry. You haven't. I'm trying not to spoil for you. Anyway.
um, and like I said earlier, he just did not even seem winded. Like it did not seem like it was all that challenging for him to win that stage.
No, 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 not at
He
all.
never looked like he was
Well,
like really throwing it down.
and he was in the breakaway again the next day. Like,
Yeah,
he's been all over the race, and so, I mean, I think the goal of him being in the polka dots is a very obtainable goal if he continues to go out there and mop up climbs like this. Because I mean, he's racking up points at this point.
yeah. Well, and after stage 9, he was still looking good for uh, for the polka dots. He was still in the polka dots and with a decent sized lead. Um, I guess the one stage we really haven't talked about at all is stage 8, Philipson's second win, which was so disappointing. Like
Okay.
old Mr. Viviani was oh so tantalizingly close.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see it, but it also goes to prove to me that I want to see. You want to. What I really want to see is I want to see Jasper and Tim Merlier in like a 4-day stage race in Finland,
Belgium.
where all they do is sprint
Yeah,
four
like 4
times.
sprints. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I want
yeah.
to see them go 4 up, 4 down. All right, in subsequent stages head to head where there's nobody else. Okay, because it seems to me like when I watch Jasper sprint, I I think that Jasper Philipsen is the best sprinter. I think he's better than Tim Merlier, and it's it's tough for me to say that because Tim Merlier's got so many wins this year and he looks so good, but I think Jasper's a better sprinter because
Would you agree that Merlier has more top end speed?
yes, but I think I think what makes Philipsen so great is what happened in this sprint. He was completely boxed out, totally out of position, off Plankert's wheel. All right. He is like 1 or 2 or 3 back at one point, and he's completely like visually speaking, he's completely out of the sprint. He somehow works his way out to the outside and is able to get enough momentum to be able to take the sprint. And you look at it and you're just like, how could he have that much like after where he is, how he has to move to get into position to even start that sprint? How does he have enough time, and how does he have enough power to be able to still pull out the win? Like it was one of his best sprints in my opinion of the entire season. All right.
Yeah, he did the Robbie McEwen on that thing. He just
Yes.
appeared out of nowhere at the very end. He came right around the outside of Viviani there, and then Viviani almost pushed him into the barrier, but he was able to scoot through there, and Yeah, I mean, they weren't even mentioning him in the call.
No, not at all.
They, they,
They were
they never even
completely
mentioned his
surprised by
name
it.
until the very, very end, and then he comes across, and they're like, "Oh my God, what Phillips just won that? He
Yeah,
wasn't
they were
even in
like,
the
did
mix."
Phillipson just win?
Yeah, it was.
And and the thing is that I look at it as in the biggest stages in the world, he comes up big, man. Like if he's in the, it's tough. I want to see him go up against. I'd love really if I in a perfect world, I'd love to see uh, Olaf Koy, Merlier, and Philipson all going head to head. A few times. I don't, be it a Grand Tour or a week
And
long stage race.
if it's right now, sprinkle in a little Arnaud Delis.
Oh my God, yes, yeah, for sure. All right, like I don't know, man. Like right now, I have a hard time saying that I have a hard time saying that Tim Merlier is just number one. I mean, if he's anything, it's a 1A 1B type situation with the two of them
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, fully. Well, that's one of our sport is akin to like prize fighting in that way. It's like sometimes the two biggest names like they don't get the matchup. You know what I
Right, they're
mean?
just
Like,
circling the circuit. Yeah,
right. Or when they do get the matchup, there's other extenuating circumstances. You know what I mean?
well,
Like, the,
we should have had it at the tour, and Phillipson
yeah,
nuffs his
yeah.
collarbone. But in the one sprint that we get, we see Phillipson wins. You know what I mean? But we don't know what else we would have seen down the
I don't
line.
think Merlier was in the picture on that sprint though. Like
I know.
his thing was way back. So yeah, I don't know. Like I like your idea of just like the 4 days of sprinting, and it's just
Just
Phillips and v Merlier
yeah.
with their best lead out men.
I'm telling you, throw Coin Lee in the mix too,
I would
because
definitely say Phillipson's got the better lead out between Plankart and Vanderpool
oh my God, yes.
versus whatever Merlier has. Who are Merlier's guys? Merlier's
He's got
guys.
the guy with the name that's impossible to sound. That he was his like I won't go to the tour without guy. I can't think of what his name is. Von Schufen, whatever. He's got
Oh, that guy.
it's an extremely long name. So you had him, and then I'm trying to think what the other guy's name is.
I can't think of who his lead out guys
Because
are.
I haven't been watching it. I got everybody else in my head right now because they're not really, you know what I mean. They're obviously not a factor in this. But I don't know, man. I think Phillipson's the best sprinter in the world right now. I just in the
Well, I think his team did really, really right by sending him to this race, after the disappointment of the tour, which, we talked about recently. Any other, you take any other of a handful of sprinters and what Phillipson got out of 4.5 stages of that tour, any of them would be glad to have for an entire tour. He got a yellow jersey, he got a green jersey, and he got a stage win.
yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
hate to tell you that's a career for some guys.
Yeah, not too shabby. But for a guy like Jasper Philipson, it's still going to be a big disappointment to go home halfway through stage 5.
I
So,
agree. I agree.
boom, he, as it turns out, didn't do that much damage. Nothing like really long term or whatever, enough to take him out of the race, obviously, but not so much that he can't train up. And they send him to the Vuelta that's got a arguably a relatively thin sprinting field. There is no Tim Merlier there, basically, um, and others. There's no Jordi Mayos. There's no you know
Danny Van
what
Poppel.
Wellsford. There's no um,
Well, I think all those I don't. But again, I think that speaks into why I think Phillipson's the best sprinter in the world right now.
that
Is that he's Phillipson's a guy that can look at this and go, yeah, I can get through that. I can get through 21 days of that.
Oh, well, no, that's what I'm saying. This is a great move sending him there because he doesn't have so much competition. He's already won two stages. We're not even halfway through this thing.
Yeah. But
You
this
know,
is
he's
this is
almost a shoe-in for the win on the final day
I would think,
in
yeah,
Spain.
assuming he's
Nobody's
healthy.
nobody's beating him in that. So that'll be three. And I know there's at least one or two other sprints in between now and then. So, I mean, he could come out of this
With
with
4 stage
with
wins.
4 stage wins. I mean, that's not too shabby. That's to come out of your Grand Tour season, which you only race a total of 25 days with like five wins. It's
And
not
as you keep reminding me, he won a monument.
right. And there's that. So it,
Then
he's
there's that.
he's no slouch. Well, it was all things considered, it was a damn good week of racing between the storylines and the action of the racing. We got to see a lot of kind of exciting stuff, and if it was not super exciting, well, at least it was tantalizing and gave us a lot of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's well, and I'd like to get into a couple of the crazy quotes that have got thrown around the Ayuso thing. By the way, we will talk more about that on Beyond the Slipstream. Just how crazy is everything that these guys are saying. We'll get into the details of like what's been said, but
Well, I think we can set it up
yeah,
now
well, that's what I'm
in the
saying.
remaining minutes that we have. So on the rest day, that was yesterday, as we're speaking today on Tuesday. Um, UAE drops the bombshell, which is they released that Juan Ayuso will be off of the team at the end of the 2025 season.
They reported as he'll be breaking his contract. That's how it's reported, which I think is
Right.
very interesting. That was the first thing I saw was that Juan Ayuso is going to break his contract.
But I mean, if the team is announcing it or allowing it, I mean, it seems like there's been some sort of agreement there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there is, but it's how they're spinning it is what's interesting, and I think Mauro coming out and I just all of the things that are being said are some of them are crazy.
Well, the conventional wisdom now is that he's probably going to Trek, right? To legal Trek,
That's what I'm hearing.
which I think is well, it's great for him. I think they're taking a risk bringing a guy that's got that kind of volatility into a team that is so well regarded as like having such good cohesion.
Okay,
You know,
how
I mean,
but
they're
how much of what we're hearing right now is punditry and spin versus the reality? Because again, up until a few days ago, like I don't think you would have put Juan Ayuso on like being a bad team player. Like I I
well,
I did not have that impression of him other than the
well. Don't forget about the Giro this year. I mean, this is actually the third instance of Juan Ayuso not being a team player in a Grand Tour. One of them was at the Giro when he just flat out would not help out Del Toro. Um, and then it happened again, I want to say sometime last year with Almeida again. So this is, he's clearly demonstrated himself as someone who does not play well
okay.
when he's put into this two-leader situation, but he wouldn't have that on Trek. I think that's
Well,
the more
but I know that's what I'm saying. Like how much of his attitude is just literally because of the situation that you have the giant, you know, megalithic size, Tadej Pogacar. You also have a rider who wins multiple races a year in João Almeida as a number two to the maybe the greatest racer that's ever raced.
Mhm.
And then you've got you and the upstart, kid from Mexico. Okay, like not to mention Jay Vine and Simon Yates or Adam Yates and Brandon McNulty. There's a lot of big personalities on this team, period,
Mark's
full
still there.
stop. And
Yeah.
how many times do you got to be played down to before you get extremely pissed off and are like, I deserve a better shot than this. Like, let me friggin' go. I'm better.
Also, I've heard many pundits over the years and teammates and interviewees and stuff saying that like Ayuso's like a nice guy. Like he sounds like he's a cool guy. He's pretty well liked by his teammates and stuff like that.
Speaks great English,
but
always with the
at the
dog
same
and
time,
shit.
at the same time, you know, if you want to look at a very specific situation, you need not look any further than just a couple of days ago. Okay, he goes out and he gets the win on stage whatever stage it was, stage 7 on Friday, right? Saturday, so he's got his stage win. Saturday, you got the sprint stage, and then boom, Sunday, the day before the rest day, and what does he do? Jonas Vingegaard goes out there and puts in an attack. Juan Ayuso had already dropped off the back of the bunch like earlier in the stage, and Almeida had J Vine there to help him. Vine did what he could for him. Soler had already dropped, and Almeida was left to do a whole lot of chasing by himself and trying to minimize the damage to Jonas. Had Juan Ayuso been up there, he just got his stage win 2 days before that, and he's got a rest day the next day. All he had to do was put in a little bit of team effort.
But here's the thing.
A little bit of teamwork. And this is why there's so much speculation about him, because like that one is a no-brainer. Like, come on,
what if he knows all of this shit is coming? All right, that it is bad. That you know, maybe there's huge amounts of team tension that just surrounding him and his exit and whatever's going on, and he's just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not gonna ride for you guys if you're shitting all over me.
No, I think he ends up looking better in the long run if he goes out there and does help, because then he can take the high road and say, you know what, I didn't even get down there on the fucking level with you guys. I fucking went out there. I won a stage. I was at the front. I was at the tip of the spear on the TTT, and when push came to shove, I even helped out your boy Joao Almeida. So don't fucking say word one about me. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's a high road that could have and should have been taken. In Lidl Trek, Juan Ayuso will have a situation where he likely is the sole GC Grand Tour rider and will have a team completely dedicated to him. At the same time, if he wants to find success on that team, he will have to learn how to subvert his ego, expectations, demands.
But I think if you put him
with a team,
if you put him into a situation that is where he's the clear number one, and everybody else is in a good headspace, like, I just feel like it's a no-brainer for him. I do. You know, and
then the chips will truly be down for him at that point. Then there will be no excuses.
No, none whatsoever. He will not be in the shadow of Pogacar.
Yeah.
Or
and in his mind,
Almeida.
he can beat. In his mind, a time will come when he can beat Pogacar. So, I'm all for it. Let's see it happen.
I agree.
Put him in at Lidl Trek. Skelmos is not going to be the guy.
No, nor is Ciccone.
Not for a Grand Tour. Neither one of
Yeah.
them. So, yeah.
It's nothing but upswing for a Lidl Trek. That is definitely a step up for them, big time.
Agreed.
So, all right, you got anything else on this week in the Vuelta, or
don't think so?
All right, well then, on that note, we'll be right back.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we're back, and we're going to get into some other racing from around the globe last week. I figure we can start with the women's classic Lorient Agglomeration. You had some good notes about like the history of these two races, and obviously, you can tell just from the broadcast that it's like a multi-day event that they have in this region, and there's these couple of iconic late season French races, and
The oldest one is the men's race, which is the Bretagne Classic. The women's was added like back in the 80s or something like that, or maybe the 90s. It's been around for a couple of decades. It was originally called the GP Plouay because the town around which these races take place is the town of Plouay, which is like in northern France, kind of Belgian-y. And so it's got that. It's a a straight up like classics kind of course. And it's just really cool. The men and the women both basically run over the same course over the course of this weekend. The women go on Saturday, the men on Sunday. We got some really nasty weather in the women's race, and you know, both of the races were just action packed, and both came down to sprint finishes, and they were just it's just a cool couple of races. I think we had another one like this a few weeks back where we were talking about how like the latter part of the season sort of doles out these 1 day races back in Belgium. Just every couple of weeks, you just like get one, and it just makes you miss the spring
yeah,
all that much more. And it's just like so cool. It's like in the midst of all this Grand Tour action, Grand Tour, Grand Tour, Grand Tour all over the place, and suddenly you got this cool little just like classic straight up Belgian 1 day race,
right.
long race too.
By the way, with a bunch of great riders in it, like a ridiculous amount.
Oh, absolutely.
Allison Jackson's was in the mix.
Oh
Obviously.
yeah, you had Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Marianne Vos,
Yep.
ELB, Kim
Yep.
LaCour, Misha Bredeval, Justin Gakire, Anna van der Breggen. I mean, uh, ton of big riders, and this is a race that's basically been owned for the past two previous editions by Misha Bredeval of Vesti Works. She this year was looking to join Lizzie Deignan as the only rider to have won it 3 times. And as we said in our intro, she completed that treble,
Oh yes, she did.
and got the win. And I have to say, we can go through the race a little bit, but I am quite keen to talk about that sprint at the end of the race. But let's jump into a little of the action.
Well,
from the race,
you had Danny Rowe and Charlton. What is that? What is her name? Rebecca Charlton on the call, and I tell you what, Danny Rowe's another one that I really, really like to listen to. Like Danny Rowe gives a really, really good call, and I would love to hear her on a bigger race than but she does a really good job. And
yeah, for sure.
not really familiar with Rebecca Charlton other than the fact that she used to be a racer. But she was pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I feel like all of the female talent that we get in these races is always really, really strong. So when the broadcast started, you had like a breakaway of 3 riders, including Lucinda Brand, Josie Nelson, and Sabrina Stoltens, and they were kind of at it for a while. The most significant thing to happen early on, though, is Bredeval got in a crash and was off the back of the peloton for a while, around 28 Ks to go, which is significant considering, as we just said, she won this race. She was like looking pretty desperate, and the announcers were talking about like, oh, maybe this isn't the year. Maybe she doesn't make it 3 in a row. She doesn't get the hat trick or whatever. But there was a couple of other women back there, I guess, that had been caught up in that crash or whatever, and they were able to work together to get through the cars to get back in. Lucinda Brand and Stoltens drop Nelson up in the front, and remain ahead going into like 16 Ks to go. And then we saw just like a series of attacks from this Famke de Vries on this Melissa bike. Man,
They
she had a
Visma was
great
like
race.
really pushing the tempo in this race. They were trying to make this thing as hard as possible because
Absolutely.
they were just powering the front. And, you
I mean,
know,
they're basically trying to do a stage one of the Tour de France all over again.
it
You
seemed
know,
like it.
the two of
Yes,
them
it
going
seemed
out
like
there
it.
and powering through. If one of them can't get it done, the other one can. But this time they also had Famke de Vries in the mix helping him out with
Yes.
that task. And she keeps launching. Like she put in this one like really long attack where she was off the front for a couple of kilometers, really going hard and like making the other teams really have to work to get her back in. They get her back in. She's hanging with those guys for a little while, and then there's like a move by a Visma Lisa bike rider. And from the angle or from the distance, the shot that they were looking at, you couldn't quite tell who it was. And the announcers are like, wait, is that Ferran Prevot? Oh, no, wait, it's Voss. Oh, no, it's De Vries again. She's going again. So that was cool. Um,
Well,
but
I really think that was, you know, and it may have really come back to bite them in the end because it just seemed to me that Voss wasn't able to finish it out. I mean, you know, she was right there in the mix, and then it just didn't seem like she had quite enough in the tank.
wait, we're getting there. We're
Yeah.
getting there. Don't. I wanted to mention though the work that Van der Breggen put in to finally mop up the last of that little breakaway group that had what's her name, Lucinda Brandon Staltons in it. Um, it was like 8 Ks to go before they finally got Lucinda Brand back, and that was through a lot of work from Anna Van der Breggen. Um, Blanca Voss comes in and puts in a big turn to help out SD Works. Um, right at the moment that Anna van der Breggen had finally like cashed in all her chips, she did what she could for Bredevald. She falls off, and just as she hits the back of the peloton, who's coming right up past her, but Blanca Voss to go in and put another turn in for Misha Bredevald. And then they get to the second to last climb, and Voss has struck, it's like spent her match or whatever, and Bredevald's got to do it for herself, driving the pace at the front, um, and then manages to stick with the reduced peloton that's got like the likes of like Langer Borghini, Voss, Ferran Prevot, Lippert, Koch, Smolders, De Vries, um, Dygart, Labous is in there, Pfeiffer Georgi, Cedrine Carabol, Yelena Janssen, Gasparini,
God,
and
what a
Bredevald.
lineup.
So
Jeez.
super strong group that it kind of swells together. There's like a lot of little breakaways here and there, but like 1.5 Ks to go. It's all back together. Um, Eliza Longo Borghini comes up to the front. You're thinking maybe she's thinking to make a move. Um, but it finally comes down to that sprint. And the shot that really does it the justice is the helicopter shot from directly above. Did you see it? Incredible. Bredevald starts sprinting, and it looks like Voss has just got the drop on her. Like she blows past her and gets out to almost, almost like gets her back wheel past Bredevald's front wheel. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got a half a bike length, maybe a little more on her, and it's looking like it's done and dusted. But what you can't really see is that there is a long way to go to that finish line. And and Bredevald had already been sprinting, and now she's sort of like in a holding pattern, watching Voss go right past her, and she's like, okay, I got to go again.
And then she
There's
tucked back in.
yeah, and she's just gears it up again, and her speed comes up as Voss finally hits the wall, and Bredevald is speeding up, and somehow gets past her at the line. Um, Incredibly exciting, and like what a second effort! Like you have got to give that woman props for assessing that situation, making those calculations in her mind. Seeing it's like what we were talking about last week when who was it that said she had gone through she'd gone through the finish in her head, but when she came around the corner, she had miscalculated or thought that
It
there
was
was a shorter.
Jonas. It was Jonas.
Or no, you're right. It was Jonas. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Thought that there was a shorter distance, and when he saw that he had more time, and that's essentially what Bredevall was doing there. You know, she had started the sprint way early and kind of burnt some matches there, and sort of felt like, yeah, it's probably all over here because I'm fading already. Not really thinking about the finish line, just looking at her opponent over there and realizing she's going past me and I'm fading. But then she looks and she sees, wait a second, there's still a long way to go to the finish line. Crank this thing back up. Let's see what happens. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and she tucks in behind Voss and just catches enough of the slipstream to be able to like give herself just that last second where she could put in that better effort.
I don't think she got behind Voss as
I,
as I remember remembering the helicopter shot. She was just out there in the wind.
maybe it's from
They
the
were
front
side
on
by
shot that
side.
it kind of looked like she was
It was
behind her.
Voss got up and then you just see her go past again. Well, nonetheless, it was an incredibly impressive win. I love that chick. She was really like losing it in the interview. Did you watch the post race
I
interview?
did not watch the post race
She
interview.
was talking about how her family had just gotten some bad news about her grandmother's health, and so she was racing with like a really heavy heart. She had like her grandmother like in the forefront of her thoughts throughout the day, and so it was like really um, gratifying for her to get that win. You know, she
That's
really like
awesome.
desperately wanted it. It was also like horrible weather that day, and she says that she loves the bad weather, she loves the adversity, that kind of racing. She gets in a crash, you know, a lot of racers get in a crash like that. They're like, well, my day is done. And she's like,
What was
no. My day is
I don't
not
remember
done.
seeing the crash. Did
I
she?
don't know that you even saw it, but it
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
anything major. She just went down in bad weather.
I
Like
know
we
I
were
saw a
talking about
couple of
last
riders
week.
like go off the side of the road like on their own. Like there was one where one of the I think it was a lotto rider like went off to the side and like ditched into the bushes. But I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was
it
something
wasn't
like
anything
that.
major. And she just took it as motivation and she went out there and got a win. You got to love her. She's had a great season and she was a much a deserving champion here. It was a Dutch 1-2-3 with Bredewald, Marianne Vos in second, and Elaine Jansen in third.
Look at that.
Um, that was a great race, man. I enjoyed that. I will be looking forward to this pair next year.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fun race to watch. Uh so let's get into the Bretagne Classic. Um so when the racing coverage comes up and where I kind of go to pick up into it, McNulty is just bossing the front of the race, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh my god, like are we about to get an American win in a French race? And I was super pulling to him for him, but like I think it became clear like pretty quickly that there's no way they were going to hold that he was going to hold off the peloton.
No, but you're getting way ahead of yourself. Um, well, no. Are you talking about when it was like McNulty and Uta Brooks?
Yes, it was McNulty,
Oh,
Uta
yeah,
Brooks,
yeah.
and then uh,
Yeah, there was
there was
two other
two other
guys.
guys with him. I loved this. I loved those four guys. I wish I'd wrote it down. But it was
Yeah,
McNulty.
that was like 40 something K to go. Like, yeah,
Yes.
that was way out. And then we got a solo break from Casper Asgreen. Um, he held a gap of over a minute for a while. And then like 43 kilometers ago, suddenly his gap just like disappeared and he gets caught at like 36K. Um, there was a really cool shot of a little chapel. Did you catch that little chapel that was like out in the middle of like kind of nowhere?
No.
It was called La Chapelle de Sacré Coeur, um, which I did a little mini deep dive on this thing. It was like this really kind of like ornate and grand looking church, but it was like in the middle of the woods with no roads or anything leading to it. It was just surrounded by grass. And it was built around like 1900. So it's not like old, looks old, but it was built to look like a little mini Sacre-Cœur, like the big church from Montmartre that we became so familiar with,
Yeah, yeah,
not
okay.
only not only last summer but this summer with our
Oh, yeah.
our two trips to Montmartre in two
Hopefully every
years.
summer from now on.
Yes, and hopefully every summer. Um, so really cool, like this cool little church. Like the fact that it's just sitting out in the middle of the grass. There's no car can drive up to this thing. I mean, this is like an ornate little church, and you just got to walk there. I love it. Anyways, um, uh, McNulty came into the picture again. You got another group of 8 off the front with around 24K to go with McNulty, Nylands, and Kostju, and the peloton not cooperating. Um, they finally got their act together. They caught those guys with like 19K to go, and then you get the attack from Mattawa from FDJ. Filippo Zana from Jayco goes with them. They get a gap of around 8 to 10 seconds that hangs on for a couple of kilometers. Um, and Madawas, who's by the way a Breton, which is
The region.
the Bretagne, the region that
Brittany,
they're
yeah.
gets caught by 3 chasers with like 9.3 to go, and that once again includes McNulty, Van Hills, and the guy Barre, and Madawas manages to hang on, and those guys roll for a while. Um, there was an amazing helicopter shot at 8 kilometers to go. Did you catch this shot? It was when you're looking at it in the foreground, the road is going there. It's going by in the foreground all the way across the frame with the riders riding from left to right across the frame. But somewhere off to the right of the shot, the road makes a hairpin turn and comes back this way. And that breakaway group of McNulty, the 4 of those guys were on that pot on that area, and so you got this incredible shot. It was super geometric where you saw the main peloton going this way on the road, and you saw the 4 guys that they were chasing going this way, and it was like all happening right next to each other, and you could get an idea of exactly how far behind they were if you could
Oh, I
imagine.
do know it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a
They had gone
great
like it
shot.
was like an overpass thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. When you said hairpin, I'm thinking like a mountain hairpin. No, no, no. I know exactly what you mean. They were coming across as the other riders were coming under.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so then let's see what else happens. So Barre hits out, gets a little bit of a gap, but he's got a long way to go. Tish Banut tries to bridge the gap with Paul Lapera. Um,
Yeah, but I felt like
Bar-
none of those were going anywhere. Like they
yeah,
just.
Barre gets over the top of the final climb, 20 seconds on the Peloton. There's like about a 3.8 kilometer downhill towards the finish line, but he gets caught almost instantaneously. Um, Little breakaway groups are popping off the front. Alaphilippe's trying to draw the groups back together to help out from Mark Hershey, who was the defending champ. Um,
Well, and I feel like Benut's attack was more in line with trying to motivate the peloton to move forward.
right. Same thing that Alaphilippe was trying to do, and this little McNulty group is trying to hang off the front. Barre dangling on the back after he attacked. He's totally spent. Um, they finally catch them at like a kilometer to go. McNulty's trying to stay off the front. Turns into like sort of out of nowhere. That's why some of these stages are so wild, because it's like sometimes when you see a tacked on sprint and it's going to be Olav Koy versus Arnaud Delis, like we've been watching the Peloton riding as a big group together for the last 10 kilometers, and all the teams getting formed up and lined up for the sprint, and it's going to be a sprint. On this one,
It all comes
nobody
together in like
mentioned
a
the word.
half K.
Yes, no one said Olav Koy or Arnaud Delis until there was maybe 250 meters left in this race.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but Visma did the work to put Coy in the right position. I mean,
right.
there's no doubt
Yeah.
because in I don't know if this says more about Delee's form or less about Coy's. Coy ran out of gas, like,
Yeah.
and that is something that you don't see very often with him. Like, that was atypical for him. Like, typically you give him that kind of lead out, that kind of move, and he's going to put you away. And for
I
whatever
think this,
reason, he just didn't have the
I
legs,
think
and Delee came
the
out of
season is
nowhere,
catching up with
I
him.
guess.
I
But
think the season's catching up with him, and Delee not only is in great form, obviously right now, but Delee, that guy can sprint, man. That guy has got cycling in his DNA. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you watch that sprint, he jumped straight away. Like the moment that Coy makes his move, Delee was glued to his wheel and just stayed right behind him. And as Coy was just expending all of that energy, Delee was right up his ass crack
yes.
and came out of the wheel with 25 meters to go and just blew past him. Had time to sit up. I mean, like, perfect execution plus perfect form
By the way,
plus
this is
Coy.
this is the same guy that I was talking about before the tour, and you were giving me shit about like Arnaud Delis. Arnaud Delis is not going to do anything.
I don't know, man. He's turned it around, man.
I told you,
Late
dude.
season form.
I told you.
I'm glad. I like the guy. I like the guy. And I mean, as we discussed at length last week, like, I mean, it was so touching watching him win that race, and the the hurrahs from Matthew Van Der Poel and the embraces with his dad and everything. I mean, it was really, really nice. So, um, it was cool to see him take this win. It's nice when the guy gets in that kind of form and, has a nice little streak
Oh
like
yeah.
that. I like Olaf Koy, but it was
No, I would have. I much rather would see Arnaud Delis win than Olaf Koy at this point. Because at this point, I'd rather see Matty Brennan win than Olaf Koy. So
yeah. I mean, but what an exciting race. I mean, just anything could have happened, and the fact that like it only came down to like a sprint amongst the top sprinters, like with half a kilometer to go, is just insane.
yeah.
Like the chaos it must be to be on one of those teams in that closing kilometer when everyone's scrambling to like find their guy, and can I give my man some kind of a lead out? Where are the other guy? Like, I mean, it
Oh
must
yeah.
just be absolute and total chaos.
Chaos.
And to have the mental fortitude to just keep your shit together at those kind of speeds and get where you need to get to and be able to sprint it out is quite a thing.
Yes, it was.
For sure. For sure.
All right. Well, do you have anything more to add on the Bretagne Classic?
No, it was a wonderful race. They're both a wonderful couple of races. It's nice to get a taste of the classics this late in the season, and they were thoroughly enjoyable.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to fall back into the Gruppetto and take another ride on the Broom Wagon. All right. Welcome back. We're going to take another ride in the Broom Wagon. Matt, what do you got for us this week?
All right, it's time to make you jealous because I am going to do my Maryland Cycling Classic preview, which I will be attending this weekend on behalf of the show. Um, the Maryland Cycling Classic is, of course, the only UCI sanctioned pro level racing that is done in the United States of America at this point in time. There is no Tour of California or Tour of Utah or anything else, for God's sakes. We have the Maryland Cycling Classic, which takes place right in my own backyard of Baltimore, Maryland.
Now, we may have another race next year in Colorado that
True.
is on the horizon, but you are correct. As of right now, this is the only UCI pro level race that we have.
Fingers crossed. And the following weekend is the Montreal, the Canadian races, Montreal and Quebec. And so it's sort of by design that those races fall within a week of each other because teams and pros can come over here and get in all three races.
make the trip worthwhile.
With one trip. I believe Pogačar will be at the Canadian races.
I believe as well.
He's not going to be in Maryland. Man, that would have been such a coup if Pogačar was coming to Maryland as well.
Don't see that happen.
Ain't going to happen. So the riders that we do have, well, the teams the big teams, the World Tour level teams that are going to be participating, kind of the same ones that were there last time with a couple of other extras, but EF, Lidl Trek, Jayco, Premier Tech, Tudor, Total Energies, and Uno X Mobility.
I don't think Tudor was there the last time, were they?
Yeah, I don't think Tudor or Uno X or Total Energies were.
Total Energies was.
Total Energies was?
I believe.
I know, I'm 100% positive EF, Lidl Trek, Jayco, and Premier Tech were all there.
Yeah.
So, riders on the start list. Nilson Palace.
This list, by the way, this list is crazy.
I know. Colby Simmons, Quinn's little bro. Marijn Vandenberg. Those are our big three from EF, the American team. From the other American team, last year's winner, Skelly, plus Sam Oman and Mr. Quinn Simmons, and El Patron, Juan Pedro Lopez. El Patron, going to be over there. And Thibaut Nace. No, Thibaut Nace is Red Bull.
Yeah.
No, not Red Bull. They're not going to be there. I can't remember. But we got Mauro Schmid, Filippo Zana, Pascal Ackermann, Riley Sheehan from America, Simon Clark, the mightily bearded Jeffrey Soup. I want to get a picture of Jeffrey Soup, a photograph. We got Netflix star Anthony Turgis, as we saw.
Your boy.
The guy that won the big gravel stage or whatever it was.
Your boy.
You got Leap and Larry Warbass. We got Jonas Abrahamson and the brothers Johannesson, and racing for Team USA, one Brandon McNulty. So
wait. So hold on. McNulty's not racing under UAE. He's racing Team USA.
He's racing Team USA.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Also, on a note with Quinn has been. I just saw a great Instagram post of his. He has Skelmos over here helping him train for this. Also, he is going to make a big push in the World Championships, Rwanda. That's a goal of his.
Sweet.
Could you imagine?
Crap. If Quinn Simmons won the World Championships in Rwanda. Holy crap. So, I just wanted to break down for you what my plans are for that day. So I'm going to go over early morning with the bikes, like the family set of bikes. I got a parking space all figured out and everything. I'm going to jump on my bike, ride up to where the women are starting. The women start is at like 8:30. So I'm going to watch the women's like pre-race stuff and watch the start for the women. And then I'll have like an hour and a half where I can just like tool around down there. And what I've learned is that in Baltimore, on the very innermost part of the harbor, like the edge of the harbor on the innermost part, the entire thing, and I'm talking about 6 miles worth, from like below the inner harbor, coming all the way up around the inner harbor, down around past where like the aquarium is and the power plant and all that stuff, then down and around the point, down past Fells Point, and over and over and over. It's like 6 miles long.
Right.
Bike path the entire way.
Really?
Right next to the water. And it's like 10 feet wide. It's like walkers, and you can just ride your bike all the way along the entire thing. And the race comes down at some points. It's like a block away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like right there on Pratt Street where the finish line is, it's only like a block away from this path. So you can kind of navigate around the whole area where all the bikes are going to be coming through, like on this path and some other paths. Plus I know there's going to be a lot of streets that are closed off down there. So basically I can tool around for a while and just kind of try to, see the riders when they come by for the first time or whatever. And then, I'm going to go back to where the car is, meet up with the wife and the kids who are meeting me down there. We're going to all jump on our bikes, go watch the finish of the women's race. Then we'll watch the the pre-race and the start for the men, and then we got all day to just like dick around. So we're gonna hit some taco spots and just like hang out, and then I'm kind of like, they can leave basically whenever they want, but I'm staying until the end of the men's race. Hopefully they'll stay till the end as well, but um, I will definitely stay through to the end of the men's race and
Hell yeah. I'm sorry I have to miss it.
provide a full report. Well, next year for sure. I think the fact that they're adding a women's race this year bodes very well. I think it says that this race is very healthy and will be continuing. So whether it stays as like a biannual thing is anybody's guess. Hopefully it'll just be an annual thing now that they've got it all figured out. So we'll see, but we'll definitely make sure.
Well, and if there ends up being more American racing, hopefully that bodes well for it as well.
Yeah, and there's always the United States national championships and stuff. I mean, they'll be racing for us to see. So don't sweat it. I'm just turning it into a fun family day in Baltimore.
There you go.
But yeah. All right, what do you got?
So my wife is very into Legos, and this is like something that she's, a hobby that she's kind of rekindled, for herself. And she does like some oddball sets, but because of her Lego usage, I have started like getting Lego stuff in like my Instagram feed. And I'm just like, I'm completely blown away by how far Legos have come in the last 20 plus years, like since, John was really little. And I mean, it's insane. And I'm assuming that a good bit of it has to do with computer technology and in the way that they can now like digest all these different Lego pieces that they make and then convert them to be used in other ways. And what I mean by that is, my wife loves plants. She does all these, she has plants all over the house, but she's been building these plant Lego sets that are like, right now she's doing one that's like all Asian plants. And so the crazy thing is that like they don't make new pieces for these sets. They use existing pieces and create new sets with them. And so when she's building the chrysanthemum, the petals of the chrysanthemum, which are, those kind of like elongated,
Yeah.
they use bananas. Like they just change the color of bananas, Lego bananas, and those have now become your petals on your chrysanthemum.
Yeah. And when you take a step back and look at it from 4 feet away or whatever, it abstracts enough that it no longer registers as banana to you.
So watching her build Legos, and obviously some of my kids like them too, but that's like led me into like seeing some of these insane like mega builds that people are doing these days that are the most.
You should have put some links to that in the thing, because I would love to see. Are you a Lego Masters guy? Did you guys watch Lego Masters?
Yeah, I've watched Lego Masters.
We've watched every one of those episodes.
They've got like, there's Star Wars is a big one that seems to pop up in my feed, probably because I like Star Wars, and now I'm looking at Lego stuff. But dude, they've got these like, 500,000 piece, where they build an entire Star Destroyer, and they have all the ships inside of the mega ship, and there's thousands of minifigures lined up in rows, and I'm just like, holy cow. But the coolest one that I saw was a Lord of the Rings themed, the Tower of Orthanc, okay, where one side of it is the green ring of Isengard with the face of the tower and all the trees and the wall out front. But then when you go to the reverse, it's cut open to where you can see all the different levels of the tower, and then it goes down underneath the tower to the caverns where they're creating the Uruk-hai and all that stuff. And they have the wheels and the water, and then it's like, unbelievable, dude. And like, I'm just like, I was so completely blown away by some of the things that I saw. But yeah, man, like if you haven't like checked out Legos recently, like they're not just for
Yeah.
kids.
No, I need a deep dive on that. Well, I mean, I have a couple of them. Like
What do you have?
I'm
The
a big
architecture ones?
yeah,
Yeah. See,
I'm a big fan of the Lego architectures.
dude, they
So
have
I've got Paris and I've got London over there.
one that looks like the botanical gardens in DC.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy.
it's nuts the amount of stuff that they have, but it's cooler when people like make their own stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I've got a couple of books and stuff where it's just like, people, and I mean it's just a medium. It's a medium like anything else, and so you can create your own signature style with Legos. I mean
Yeah.
that's when you're really like hitting the next level. Is like when you have your signature building style, and you could sort of see that start to come through on Lego Masters
Yeah.
if you watch a lot of Lego Masters, like because you're seeing these people doing builds like week after week after week, and there's little things that they hook into each time that kind of define their aesthetics. And it's just yeah, it's super cool.
Oh
I
yeah.
love stuff like that. I love like dominoes, those things where they tip over
Oh
like
yeah.
a million dominoes and all that kind of stuff. All any of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's the beauty of humanity. you know
Absolutely. All right, well, go check out some Legos. That's all for this week, folks. Join us next week for more 2025 Vuelta a Espana coverage. We'll also be doing a career retrospective of former Tour de France champion, podcasting heavyweight Geraint Thomas, who took the start of the final race of his career this very morning at the Tour of Britain. And we'll use the opportunity to discuss all of the stage racing action from the British Isles. Until then, for my brother Matt, I'm Justin Harper. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us again for another ride on the Team Bus. Ale.
The Team Bus is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!